Hello, y'all. Hello. How y'all doing out there in the radio land and on our podcast today, y'all? We are excited once again to be back again, y'all. This is a great Monday. What's the date on the day, babe? What's the day today? It's going by so fast, y'all. That's why I asked all these questions. I can't even keep up because that daylight saving time, it's got me where it feels like I just can't keep up with what's going on. But tell me what's the date?
You should know today is Monday, March the 31st.
March the 31st.
You are off on Mondays only.
Yeah.
So how do you forget?
I just didn't remember the date. I know it's a Monday, but this is the last day of this month. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I told you all that we were coming back, you all, with another episode of empowering women to be all that they can be, y'all. This is Women's Month. Monica courageously told me about this month. I never knew that it was anything called a Women's Month until you told me. I didn't.
Myself and then Pastor Freeman preached, so you can't give me all the credit for it.
Okay, so tell me this. Why haven't we been celebrating it like previously before this year?
Because we haven't had an awesome pastor like Pastor Freeman that honors women.
Oh,
yes.
Is that what it is? So, I mean, did you know about it before Pastor Freeman talked about it?
No.
So we got a whole woman over here that didn't know nothing about.
That is Black History Month, but
you knew Black History Month, but then okay. I'm gonna ask you real quick, Miss. And I'm gonna introduce you after I ask this question. Tix, did you know about Women's Month? Did you know you all had a month?
Yes.
So how long have you known this?
Probably about 2 years.
So you ought to know 2 years. So we're gonna have to do our research to see how long has this been actually going on, y'all, because I'm actually excited to even know that we have a month that's dedicated to women, you all. And like I say, I give it up to them, y'all, because you gotta understand, I'm around them so much, y'all. I'm a man that's in a female dominated industry, and I'm excited because you all, I'm able to hear their voice, hear what they're talking about, and it actually makes me a better man. It makes me do things better. It makes me think better. I have to say that because you all, I see it on the last episode. I feel like God made you all better than He made us. And the reason why I say it is because you all have so many entities that y'all bring life into the world. Even though we give life, you all bring life into the world. You have to carry it, you have to nourish it, and it's nothing like being a nourisher on this planet, because that's what makes the earth go round, is when we have good women that know how to nourish and be everything that they can be. But women have taken it to a whole nother level. And I must say, did you find what I was looking for?
I'm looking, but I want to make sure I give accurate information, so you can keep on. I'm gonna have it back before the end of the show.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. See over there looking up some stuff.
Yes, because I don't want to quote the wrong information.
Yeah. But like I say, y'all, back into what I was talking about, y'all. I'm so excited, y'all, because I've been raised by a good woman. I work with great women. Don't get it wrong, y'all. It's some great brothers out here. I got one in the building with me right now. This brother over here is one of my brothers, and he is on top of his game. But it's so unfortunate that I see more women on top of their game than I see men on top of their game in my life and what I see. So I give it up for women, y'all. I must say, I think about how you all are not really giving the accolades that you all deserve, from men, and in the work labor force, and in every era of what's going on in the world. Women are considered or looked at as second hand in everything, and you all are really the driving force of what's going on in this world. I must give it up to y'all. Like I say, I'm trying my best to do my thing, but I see so many women showing out. And I had to bring another one on here for our last celebration day, last day of the month, Women's History Month. So many women. You got any women you want to give it up for? I introduce, I guess, that just did anything that made you just be greater than what you are as a woman? I know your mom, but is it anyone else you could talk about, a teacher or something that you can think about that gave you something?
Yeah, what comes to mind is my first grade teacher. Her name was Miss Jackson.
Okay.
She was nurturing for me. She was the mom outside of mom. She was a school mom for me. So that's one. And then I always have to remember Queen Oliver. That was my Sunday school teacher when I was growing up at Middle Baptist Church in Memphis. So the list can go on and on because I have some awesome aunties. My Aunt Zini, my Aunt Wadessa, my Aunt Jesseline. My mom has 6 sisters. So, yes, I've been around some powerful women as well as your aunties. Auntie Thelma, Auntie Retha, Auntie Ciola. So, yeah, and Aunt Alice. So we get a lot of powerful women. But I did find something in here. I'm on today's, it says the Today's Show, but it states that it started back in 1978.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So Women's History Month began as something local back in 1978. So it's been around a minute, but I guess you don't know, about these things. But now I'm almost 53 and I'm just now celebrating Women's History Month. But it's never too late to start. So
y'all, tonight, y'all, I want to introduce our guest on tonight. The reason why I brought this young lady on and for the podcast tonight and for the radio show, y'all, is because she's another entrepreneur that's out here getting that I hate to say it this way, but getting that money, doing it well. She's an awesome young lady. I was excited because she came to a color class that we had, and that's what sparked me. Anyone that gets up and leaves their day on a Monday that they're off and comes to get education, it lets me know that they're serious about what's going forth in this world. I'm going to say something real quick, and then I'm going to introduce you, y'all. It says right here, ultimately, when women do well, society does better. A study of 60 developing countries estimate that the economic loss from not educating girls at the same level as boys amounts to about $90 million a year. So I say that to the fact that our women need to get all the education, because when women do what they do better in their spending. They spend on stuff like healthcare. They spend on education. They spend on stuff, on creative stuff. So it's a ripple effect that goes onto the economical scene of the world. So I have this young lady here today, you all, and her name, I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I'm going to give her first name, Miss Tisa Dixon, in the building, y'all, and I'm excited to have her tonight. She said something to me, and we're going to dive into that, but Tisa, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you're doing, children, a little bit about yourself so we can get off into this conversation tonight.
Okay, well, my name is Tisa Dixon, as he stated before. I am a licensed cosmetologist and a future educator. I'm working on becoming an educator and a mentor for young girls in the industry because I feel like there's a need for it. I am also a mother. And I have a fiance, so I'm going to be a wife soon.
Come on.
Yeah, so I have, we have 6 children in all. I birthed 4. And balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship is a challenging thing, but that's just really pretty much what my life consists of at this time.
Yeah, it's full as a mother and about to be a wife. So, yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Jumping back into what I was saying, y'all, it says another thing that women who are educated, y'all, they're not a threat to the world, y'all. They're a blessing to the world. Women that are entrepreneurs, they're a blessing to this world. And Tisa, I want to just talk a little bit about, but how long, first of all, have you been in the industry?
Well, I've actually been licensed for 19 years.
Okay.
But I started at a very young age doing hair and braiding hair and things like that at home. My mom was actually a cosmetologist as well. So when we talk about women who have inspired you, that's really was my main motivation, and I mimicked her. I just kind of mocked my mom. I seen her doing hair ever since I was a little bitty girl, and I was always a really girly girl, and she would have her clients and do their hair, and I would bring my little doll heads out and I would do their hair and mimic all the styles and things that she was doing. And I kind of started doing hair when I went to middle school. That's how long I've been doing hair. Wow. I was in middle school, maybe about 13 years old, 12 or 13. I was in the 7th grade. And so I played with those dolls all those years, and I was getting good. Even her clients would say, "You're going to be just like your mama," when you grow up. And my mom would critique. She started, as my skill set was growing and was, becoming good, she would critique the things that I did. And she was a very neat hairstylist. All the styles that she done was just so neat. She would do finger waves and French rolls, and they would be so nice and smooth, not a hair out of place. So that's how my skill set became so good. She would, and if it wasn't right, that was my first instructor. So that's why I feel like that's who I look up to. That's the woman that has inspired me in my career most of all, was my mother. I would do the different little styles, and she'd say, "Well, these braids, it's lumps in these braids. You need to, when you're braiding, you need to make sure everything is aligned." When I would do a French roll, she would say, "You see the dents in the French roll? You have to make sure all the hair is smooth." And so she would critique things that I did, and it perfected my craft.
Wow, look, we need her in this day and age.
Absolutely. So your mom empowered you. That's awesome. And the reason why I say that, because that's another reason why I actually got into the industry, is because of my mother. Okay, she was the first originator of Beverly's of Nashville. So it was a woman who got me into my career, and this is why I give it up for ladies. Y'all are amazing. So as you journey through your career, what's some of the things that made you go and want to go and do it, take it to another level? Because I know you said your mom, but you had to have a mentality of your own to want to take it to another level. So what were some of those things that mentally made you say, "Okay, I want to go to another level in this thing. I don't just want to be braiding at the house. I want to really, really take this thing and make it my business"? What were some of those things, Tisa?
The money. I'm just gonna be honest. It was easy money once that craft was perfected, and because I've been able to do hair in my sleep for a long time. Because I started so early, and my mother groomed me very early, so my skill set has been at a high level for many years. And so I seen how much money I could make, and then I experienced having a job. And I never really had to have a job. I got a job after I had my first child. I was 19 years old. And I would get those little paychecks, and the only reason why I got a job was because I needed proof of income. And I was in hair school at the time, so I had clientele and I was making the money. And but I couldn't go, when I was trying to find somewhere to stay and get an apartment, they want proof of income. And then that's how I started learning about life and how things go. You got to have a trail, you got to have proof of income. So that was even more motivation to say, "Hey, I need to let this be my business. So if I can prove I can make this much money, I can do whatever I want to do." So I had a job. I worked at Walgreens. That was my first job, and I didn't get a job at 16 years old like most people do. I was doing hair. I was doing my classmates' hair, and that's another story, because I didn't start driving until I was maybe like 18, but I rode on my classmates would get on the school bus with me and ride the school bus to my home to get their hair done. And when that was in middle school, but when I was in high school, when I got out of school, it would be 3 or 4 cars sitting in my mother's driveway waiting for me.
Oh, wow.
And I was awesome, 15, 16 years old. So that was all the motivation. It was just like, it was what I was supposed to do. I never got, and that's why I got a job though when I was 18 years old, because 19 years old, because I needed to play. I wanted to go out on my own and get my own place, and those little checks would be $200 and $267, and I'm working. I said, I can make more than this in a day. So that was even more motivation for me to go forward with it, and that's how my entrepreneur journey started. And I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I just felt like I could make more money on my own versus someone paying me to do things.
I'm gonna jump in real quick, and you can if you want to. Monica, jump in. It's something about when you know that you can produce something for yourself that can create more money. You don't feel trapped, and it's not that I say having a job can trap you, but when you can create and you know that your creativity, because a lot of people look at what we do and they downgrade. They think it's just they just doing hair. No, absolutely not.
No.
And Mark, I know you know this because you helped me run my business, and you know what goes on behind the scenes, y'all. We have to be punctual. We have to make sure that we schedule things properly. We have to make sure we have the right product. We have to make sure, and especially if it's your business, because you did tell me that you had your own salon when you was in West Tennessee, correct? Did you have a salon up there as well?
I did have my own salon.
Okay, so what was some of the traits and things that you had to do to keep your salon rolling? Let's hear that real quick.
I had to do a lot. It kind of felt like I had two households to take care of. So that's what it felt like to me. And I had to make sure that I cleaned it. And I started lacking in some areas because I felt like I was spread very, very thin. So I started using what you call the barter system a lot. I know a lot of us stylists kind of do that because we're so busy doing hair and you got to have other things done. So I had a friend that loves to clean, so I would get her to clean my salon. And we would, it was like a barter system. I would do her hair and she would clean the salon for me. I also had an aunt that would come in and would clean the salon for me as well. But it was a lot of responsibility having your own salon. Like I said, it was just like having two households.
Yeah, I don't think people understand, because who's going to clean the toilets? Who's going to sweep, mop the floors, wipe down the mirrors, pay all the salon bills, insurance. It's a lot to run a salon. And
it is
then,
a lot.
If you got operators in there, you have to, some of them don't pay their booth rent on time, so you have to remind them. I mean, it's a full-time job outside of your regular job. So, I'm his helpmeet, so I do all the background work.
It ain't listen.
And we're not gonna get along because my husband, it's only been a couple years. He had it where we washed the entire salon, capes and towels.
I would bring home towels and capes every other night myself, and then it would be late nights. I would get off work at 10, 11, sometimes midnight, and I would have to go home and make sure that there were fresh towels for the next day.
Yeah.
And forget about folding them. When you make sure they dry, you come in, I'm digging out the basket, and that's unprofessional. So over the years, I had to grow into becoming more professional. I had to, learn how to develop systems. And when I first started, I didn't know anything about it. All I knew how to do was just do hair. But when I became a salon owner, I learned all the responsibility that comes along with it, just bit by bit. I just started learning all the things that you have to do.
Yeah, and I don't think people really understand that. And that's why I tell my husband, with his clients, I hope they're listening and they understand. It's a joke, because once he gets out of work, somebody got to wash the towels, somebody got to wash the capes. And so when you don't keep your appointment, especially you have that early morning appointment, like at 6 in the morning, and you don't call and you don't show up, I'm like, you knew the night before that you were not going to be there, because you keep, and he got off work late, the towels had to be washed, and once they washed, they got to be folded along with the capes. And so that's time into his sleep. And then he's got to get up and then be at the salon to beat you there to have everything up and running. So when you walk in the door, you get your hair shampooed. But you don't call or you don't say anything. So to me,
it's disrespectful.
Right, disrespectful. He's lost his sleep. He could have booked someone else. So it's a whole lot that goes into this industry. It's not just walking in the door and saying, "Hey,
we're just here to do hair." That's what they
just
think.
Here to do hair.
We just do hair. No, that's what.
Because
forget about the phone calls. Because if you're busy doing hair and you're getting these calls and these inquiries about appointments, a lot of times the clients will get upset with you when you don't, get back with them in a timely manner. So sometimes you have to find someone to take the calls for you, or do automation, get where they can book online. And a lot of the old school, they don't like to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot that goes into this industry. It's not like you say just curling some hair and sending them on their way.
No, it's not.
What I found too, y'all, as well, is we are doctors as well. We're psychiatrists. We I can even say this. I'm actually some of my customers' pastor, because I pray over them. I bless their life. I've done their weddings. I've done a whole lot of things with a lot of my customers. So it's bigger. And the reason why y'all we're talking about this tonight, because y'all, this is the industry that I'm in, and like I say, this is why I'm able to connect with so many powerful women in this industry, and that's why, y'all, this conversation is real, powerful tonight. One thing, y'all, I want you to be, as women, I want you all to always be proud about everything that you have endured or went through in your life. We talked a little bit about how you had to leave where you were at in West Tennessee and come to another city to restart your whole journey into this industry in another city. Now, when someone leaves a city, I don't know, I've been in the same city about going on 50 some years almost. No, not 50, not that many, but about 40 some years. And you left a city to come to another city. When you were doing that, what were some of the things that you went through mentally, and then what were some of the things, or some of the strategic things you did to make this day be successful for you, Tisa?
Okay, this is how my story went. I decided to leave because I wanted growth. I knew that I needed to change, and I knew that if I relocated, it was going to force me into, to change. And because, you get comfortable. I was very comfortable. I was well established, but I became stagnated. Very, very stagnated. And I knew that if I changed, that would put more fire. I needed that fire again, that I once had when I was 18, 19 years old. I lost the fire. I didn't, I found myself becoming burned out. And as stylists, when you see yourself becoming burned out, you need to brainstorm and implement a change. So I decided to change because it was a lot of reasons. A lot of my clients, and I still service with the West Tennessee area. Okay. I go once a month now. But a lot of them, they won't allow you to be. We're in a small town. It's like small town mindset. I had all these big dreams and big ideas, but, a lot of them, they're not always supportive in that type of environment of the big ideas that you have, especially if they've been knowing you all. Because, everybody knows that I've been doing hair since I was 12. All this Tisa, she been doing hair this long. And I had a lot of older lady clients, too, that I inherited from my mother. And I feel like with some of them, not all of them, because I had some amazing clients, as I became a woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, a business owner, they still looked at me as that little girl. They didn't respect me as to who I wanted to become. So I feel like if I relocated and they didn't know me, and they seen what I had to offer, that I could be appreciated more in a lot of instances. And that has been the case. They just kind of get comfortable with you. They get very, very comfortable with you. So I just see growth, and there wasn't a lot of growth in our area. And then when you try to grow, it wasn't really supported the way that you want to be supported. So I just really needed a change. I just needed fire again. I needed a change, and I had all these ideas. And then I knew that my daughter was going to TSU. And she didn't stay in school, but I would visit her and come to this area, and this is such a nice area. I think, just leaving your hometown and experiencing something different, just breathing different air in a new environment, it felt good. So I said, I think I'm relocate. And it was a sudden thing. But I had been working on myself personally. Like, I was working on my personal development. I love podcasts. So I was watching podcasts of other entrepreneurs and things like that and it motivated me. I felt as though they were speaking to me, and it empowered me, and that's the way that I motivated myself to do it. It wasn't actually a person. Like I was telling you before the show, like I almost need a cheerleader. So I felt like those people were like on the podcast and on the shows that I was watching, they were like, they gave me the motivation to hear those words, like I read a lot, like self-help books and business books and things like that. So it just kind of inspired me. Just working on myself and working on my personal development helped me gain the faith that I needed to be able to make that big jump. And so I just decided to leap off on faith, and it was very scary. Very, very, very scary. And I am a saver. I save money, and I saved money, and I wanted to, either I was going to invest my money in something, to grow my business, or I was going to move. And so once I kept visiting this area, I decided I'm just going to take this money I saved and I'm going to relocate. So I started looking up apartments and things online. And the first one that called, I came up here to visit it and see it. And they had to approve you and all this. And I told God, I said, God, we're going to keep them. I'm going to say this. The rent that I had to pay, because rent is high, especially in this area.
Absolutely.
It's a lot higher than, the area that I'm from. I said, Lord, they saying this rent is what it is, and I've never paid that much rent before, Lord. But if they say, they approve me and say that I can get this apartment, I'm just going to take it as you telling me, yes, I can do it.
Amen.
So they called me and said, well, Miss Dixon, you were approved for the apartment. I said, okay, all right. And they let me know when to come in and, sign the paperwork and everything. And in 3 months I left. It was quick. It was a sudden change. It wasn't nothing that I planned over a year's time. But I did tell myself, I'm going to save this money. I'm going to do this. But that's what I did. I had enough money to get me a new apartment and make the change. I lived off of it for a few months. But then I had to find me somewhere to work. And I would come home every weekend. I would come back to Jackson because, I stay in Murfreesboro, but I would drive to Jackson every weekend in the beginning because I didn't have any source of income when I first came. And like before, I have an entrepreneur mindset. I contemplated on getting a job. But the math wasn't math, and I just kind of felt like I can grow, I can do this. So that's what I did in the beginning. I would commute back and forth, Jackson to Murfreesboro on the weekends. And so that's what I did when I first got here.
So how did your customers react to you saying you were leaving town and venturing off to a different location?
They were very sad. It was me. I feel like a lot of them had mixed emotions. Okay. They were happy for me because they would always hear about me talking about my ideas and all these things I wanted to do and stuff like that. So when I shared that with them, it was shocking. They were very shocked because it was sudden. It was nothing that I had just told them I was going to do out the blue. And I kept it to myself for a minute. And I kept it to myself because I didn't want them to discourage me.
Okay, that's smart.
Because people want to keep you where they want for themselves. They're not thinking about what she's trying to grow and she's trying to do something different. Who gonna do my hair? If you leave. So I kept it to myself for a little minute, and then I started telling them so that they could start, deciding on what they wanted to do. And a lot of challenges came with that because coming once a week, I couldn't service everybody anymore. And so you would have people that was like, you don't want to do my hair no more. I'm not available like that anymore. So, but as time went on, they start, finding other alternatives and things like that.
Okay.
That's crazy, but you're saying a lot right now, and I'm praying that some young lady out there hears that when you want to make a change or you want to grow, you got to step out on faith. You got to do what you got to do. You can't sit back and watch things just continue to go the way that the world wants you to go. You have to be your own inner. And we was talking about having a life coach. You have been your own inner life coach. You have been a woman who has taken the initiative to move just to grow. And that's powerful when you say that, because so many women sometimes won't do that. They won't take the initiative to move to grow. That's special. So when you did that, did you go to a salon when you first came here, or did you go try to find another Walgreens? What was your thoughts right there?
Like I said, I did contemplate on getting a job because I was nervous. I was on eggshells because this is something I never done before. So it was totally outside of my comfort zone, and I just kind of feel like I was gonna just fall, you know. So I went online. That's the only tool that I knew. So because I didn't know a lot of people here. Well, no, I'm gonna back with this story. So after I decided that I was going to move to Murfreesboro, it's the salon that I work at now, Studio 26. A lady named Terry White owns that salon. Mm-hmm. So she's also from where I'm from. We actually went to hair school together at the same time. So we did business with her because she was into body contouring when COVID hit in 2020.
Body contouring, yeah.
You know, it's still a thing, but she was really into it when it was hot. You know, it was a trending thing. So the salon owner of the salon that I work in Jackson, her best friend and Terry were cousins, and she introduced the concept to her and said, well, you know, and they got I don't know exactly what went on with that because I'm not the owner. I just worked there. But I remember Terry coming in to do bodies because we have an aesthetics room. So she would come in on certain weekends and she would do bodies in that room. And she was working in Murfreesboro. She had been in Murfreesboro for many years, maybe like 14 years. And so she would come to Jackson on some weekends to do body contouring, and she did well. So she came in, and like I say, I knew that she was living in Murfreesboro and she was doing hair in Murfreesboro and everything like that. So one Sunday, the salon owner where I work at in Jackson called me and she said, hey, Terry's in town and she wants to come by the salon and do a client, you know. So because she was in town for a funeral or something, you know, in Jackson for a funeral or something. So she wanted to come in and do a client at the salon. So this is how God works, y'all. So she called me and said, well, I'm not going to be able to let her in the salon. And I lived like right down the street from the salon that I worked at. So it was convenient for me to go and let her in. She said, could you go by the shop and, you know, let her in for me? I was like, okay, yeah. And keep in mind, at this time, I already made the decision. I was already moving to Murfreesboro. Yeah. I think this may have been in October. I was supposed to move to Murfreesboro in November. So when I came there, I seen her. We hugged and we greeted each other and everything. And something just hit me and said, let her know that you're moving to Murfreesboro. She's a hairstylist. So that was my first connect right there. But moving forward, that's not who I ended up working with at first. But it was in the making. So I made that connection with her. She said, well, I'm getting ready to open up me a salon. So she said, girl, you can just come work with me. And she was like, you know, and we were both admirers of each other's work. Okay, you know, she knew I was bad and I knew she was bad. So she was like, girl, yes, you could come and work with me. And I'm like, well, when are you gonna open your salon? She said, I think I should have everything together by January. So I kept that in mind. And when I first started this journey, when I decided I was going to move, I only had a mustard seed of faith. And I stepped out on it.
Wow.
But things will happen. When you use just that mustard seed of faith.
Come on.
And you step out on it, things will start to happen. And God will allow your faith to grow. Once you just step out, stuff will just start happening. You know, God will just start working. So I'm like, oh, that gave me, that was even more faith. when she told me that, I hadn't even got to Murfreesboro yet, but just to know that I could connect with someone there that does what I do, and they could, they could help me grow and help me learn how to grow, because keep in mind, she did the same thing. She was working in Jackson, and she moved to Murfreesboro and had to start over. So I've grown a bond with her because of that. We can relate to each other so well because we're from the same area. She's been through what I'm going through right now, and it's only God. God connected me to who I needed to be connected to, and that was my prayer. I said, Lord, I don't have a lot of money. I don't know a whole lot of people, but if you could just put the resources and the people in my life that I need to do your work through me.
Wow.
That's what I want. And so with me saying that, things just started to happen. And you have to pray along this journey. You have to continue to pray. As stuff happen, you got to continue to pray.
Man.
So I connected with her. But when I got there, I reached out to her. I let her know I was moving there. So I contacted her. I moved there in November. So I was getting myself situated and still commuting back and forth to Jackson. So January came. So I said, let me reach out to her and just see where she is along the journey. So at this time, she some things happen. When you're getting ready to open a salon and, do different things and get things in order. The space that she wanted, she had to do some customizations and stuff to it. And so her plans weren't following through the way that she thought that they would. So they were kind of put off on hold. And at this time, I still, I can't keep waiting. So I still wanted to work with her, but I had to figure out something else. So I started working at another salon, which was a commission-based salon. And I really didn't like that commission salon so well, because I'm used to making my own money, and commission salons can be good. It can be a good thing because it's almost like you can make your money, but it's just a different dynamic. It's a different concept of making money than just making it on your own. And a lot of I learned, though, when I got there, I learned some concepts that I could use in your own, and that I could implement. So God still place you where you need to be to learn what you need. Yes, He gives you these tools. So I was learning things, and because one thing that I loved at this salon was that we didn't have to answer the phone. I would have to take all my own phone calls and appointments. She had somebody at the front desk taking all the appointments and answering all the calls, so you could stay focused on what you're doing. And where I was from, we didn't do that. And then I want to explain too. I worked in a shop in Jackson. But when I came to Murfreesboro, I've been working in salons. It's two different concepts. It's two different. It's two different kind of environments. I would say a salon is a more professional and a more upscale experience, and working in a shop is more family-like, because your kids can come in, you can kind of chill, you talking, and it's just different. It's a totally different outlook.
It's amazing. I got to jump in real quick. I think mine is a twofold thing, because I don't like when we first started. It was very much family oriented, and now I'm trying my best to take it to the salon feel and atmosphere. But you have young ladies who go through life and they still have to bring their kids sometimes.
Okay, I want to touch on that because I have kids, right? I have children. So when I was younger, it was convenient for me to work in a shop, because I could bring my kids and things to work. So it was a blessing for me at that time. It's what I needed at that time of my life. But as you elevate, you have to, you got to sharpen and clean it up a bit. So, and in my mind back then, it's almost like I always envisioned myself as this beautiful professional lady that goes to work dressed up and, all these things. But when I was working in the shop, just being a mother and learning how to balance that, I would come to work looking any kind of way sometimes, you know, and now I don't do that. Because
Wow.
when I decided that I was going to make this change, I changed everything. I'm becoming a whole new person along this journey. And in my mind, I have become the woman that was in my mind back then, but she hadn't manifested yet. She was manifesting, but she hadn't manifested yet.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
wow,
but I
wow.
needed that shop experience because I needed somewhere that I could bring my kids because I didn't always have a babysitter. So, but
You hit on a whole lot of levels right there. You just hit me and smacked me on the side of my head a little bit because I've been in the industry now 35 years and in the same location 35 years, and I've been very lenient when it comes to a lot of my stylists that have come in the salon. I've had up and down experiences, but they respect the situation. But it's still, like you say, it is a difference when you have children in the salon and not in the salon. It's a total difference because some lady like Monica always would say, I like to come to the salon when it's quiet and I can just relax. I can read my book, listen to the music, do things like that. What's going on? Not you see a lot of kids running around up and down, and
it's a distraction. It really is. And kids are going to be kids.
Yes.
It's not that they're bad or, what have you, but kids are going to be kids and they're a distraction in a professional environment.
Right.
Yes.
And especially like I was explaining to him because my youngest is 18 now, and so I feel like I've paid my dues, and so now when I go to the salon I expect to have an adult experience. So I don't want any little kids running around yelling. I just want to be able to go in there and get my hair done, get my nails done in peace, because I done my time. That's just me. And so I was trying to explain to him when I first met him. We got met in 19, and Beverly worked at this salon. I don't know the name of it. But when I would go see her, it was a sign that said no children were allowed. And I was like, what? Because I'm like you. I'm from Memphis, so I'm used to the kids in the beauty shop.
See, well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
From West Tennessee. There's a lot of shops
So,
in the black community.
Right.
We don't have a lot of black salons. We have black shops.
Right.
And
So
I always worked at a shop because I could bring my kids to the shop. And that's what I attracted. I attracted other people who had kids and they would bring their kids and stuff to the salon. But as I've gotten older, that's just not the environment that I prefer at this time in my life. And I've evolved. And so in your clientele, as you evolve, your clientele will evolve as well.
So
I had evolved and I felt like I was trapped. I felt like I was a lion in a cage that had grew the cage, where I was from. And that's another reason why I wanted to leave. And I'm not downplaying the shop at all, because the shop blessed me. It blessed me. But, when it's time to grow, it's just time to grow.
Yeah, and so I didn't understand. I thought she was the meanest lady. I told Teddy, I told Beverly, I said, how do you work for a lady like this that don't allow kids in the salon? I had never seen that before. But now I understand, because she wanted to give her client, because she was an older lady and I was 19. And so she wanted to give her customer an experience. And like you say, professional salon atmosphere. Remember, I'm like you, I've only been in the shop. I'm in Memphis. We used to about 20 kids in the shop running around. You might take your Pookie and Ray Ray while you getting your hair done. That ain't even your kids. You see what I'm saying?
And we did. It was like a community thing. And shops are good. They can be good in a lot of ways because that's where we get our therapy.
Yeah,
it's black people. We don't pay. We can't afford to pay for therapy, but we're gonna find a way to get our hair done. And when we get our hair done, we're gonna let loose. We all gonna be talking and having these discussions that can help each other out.
Yeah,
it's still a therapeutic experience on a different kind of level.
Right.
So shops are still needed. They are, they're still beneficial. But I had evolved from that. I was like, and the kids when they come in, they would get, and I still brought my kids in. I'm gonna say I'm still the mindset that I had from West Tennessee area is still dying. It's still shedding. I'm still having to shed that as I grow.
That's good, girl. Shedding. Choose courage over comfort. You got to know when to make change, how to make change, and definitely stick to your guns when you do it. I'm constantly evolving, y'all. Like, what's going on in my life right now with just learning how to book my clients now. That's one thing that I had to really, tackle and have to jump into, because I had that shop mentality back in where I have 10 people in the shop at one time.
That's how we used to work back in the day, though.
To be packed all, if I had a lot of customers, I felt like I was doing something. I felt like, okay, I'm making that money, I'm doing this. But now I'm getting to the point to where I like concentrating on one person at a time.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
And when you are in a salon, you can create that luxury experience. Yeah. So you can still make your money. You don't have to do 10 and 12 heads a day and make your money. You just charge your worth.
Absolutely.
But at a shop, you can't always charge your worth, because kids is in here, we eating in here and doing things, you can't charge that, and that's the environment that you're in. So I got to that point. I was so burned out. I had all these clients, and I just got tired of servicing 10 people, 10 or more clients a day. It was tiresome. So now I really only want to do about 6 is a lot to me.
6 is
that's
a lot.
That's to me today.
Girl. I'm with you on that. I want to throw a curveball in here real quick, and this is for both of y'all, empowering women. When it comes to your appearance, a lot of people don't. You said it, and that's why I'm throwing this up in this picture right now. What is it about our young ladies now that they don't want to have a proper appearance? They don't want to dress the part. Even men, we got men that want to have their pants sagging, hair not combed, their beard not groomed. What is something that we can say to the people tonight about that part? Because that's an important part, I feel, of, because people see you first, and people got to understand these eye gates are here for a reason. When we see you, you're getting judged by what we see. Believe it or not, I don't care how people try to slice and dice it. You get judged automatically by your appearance. So you said it. I'm gonna let you go real quick, Tisa. Then Monica, I want to hear what you got to say, because y'all, I tell you, this time goes by fast. But when it comes to your appearance, what are some of the things that you now? Because you said you've grown. You used to do this. What makes you take pride in that now?
Because you attract what you are.
Wow.
You attract what you are. So if I'm looking the part, I can attract those kind of people. Those same kind of people will be more willing to come to you. And these are people who are, they have careers. They have money to spend on luxury and things like this. So when you come to work with your bonnet on and your leggings on and, just a raggedy T-shirt, those are the type of people that you may attract. And when you look in the part, you're gonna attract it. And I feel like your outer appearance is just a manifestation of what's on the inside.
Wow.
So I decided to do once I like you said, I had became my own life coach. And then when I got in the salon, the first one I worked at, she automatically said, well, we wear black and we have to dress nice every day. And I was excited about that, because then I felt like it gave me a reason to look pretty, and it did attract a different type of clientele than, what I was used to.
And then with you, Monica, I know COVID shut you down for a minute. COVID had my wife on a bad situation, but now, talk about it. Give us your thoughts on
my
that.
homegrowing, my mom, we were taught you don't go out in rollers, in your bonnet, none of it, pajamas, none of that. You went out looking your best. And so I guess when I got, I tried to honor that, and I still honor that now. But during COVID, because I worked from home, I was at home. So
Cozy.
I would keep, my bonnet on all day. I had these scrubs. And I was content until one day he was like, can you put some clothes on? Can you comb your hair? And I was like, what? This coming from my man. And I was like, what? So I had to check myself, because I was like, you done got so laxed till you don't care about your hair. You don't care about putting clothes on. I didn't care about leaving the house. And so I had to get out of that. So now I'm not working from home. And so I'm in a professional atmosphere, so I have to do the part. But not only that, because of who he is. He's a stylist, so everybody knows him. So I can't be in the store because everywhere I go, they're like, "Hey, you're Teddy wife, aren't you?" So I can't be out in these streets.
It's making me look bad, girl. No,
as he say, making him look, but not only him, myself, because I'm like, I don't want them saying, "Well, oh, that's who Teddy married to,"
Right?
You know. So I have to keep my A game up, and then, far as the kids, now these young kids don't believe in an iron. So, but my kids, we have an iron and an ironing board, and they would have the audacity to think they're going to go somewhere with a wrinkled T-shirt on. But Mama be like, no, take that shirt off, give them iron that shirt. Would they be mad? Yes, but you're not going to go out this house like you've been sleeping that shirt and going out and represent us in this household.
And the way you look is a representation.
You
have to be your own representative. So looking the part is very important when you're seeking success.
But these kids, they just don't care. But my kids, they get mad every time, and
they're having a hard time.
And I'm like,
getting that success.
Get out there and iron and do what you got to do. So I believe it starts, back at home. Like I say, I could say, well, go on out there and then, iron board stays put up. Plug it up, run an iron over it. And sometimes I would just iron it myself to show them, hey, it don't take but 5 minutes to iron this shirt. Look how nice and crisp it look, and you going out in these streets. So yeah, I think it starts at home with the parents, and then even now, I know some people are lazy. They don't even use the iron; they just put it in the dryer. I'm like, but that's using more electricity in my opinion. We can just run the iron up and get the wrinkles out yourself. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I would not want to be young like that again, like during this time.
But they're different now, because when I was younger, we always kind of took pride in putting clothes on. They're different now.
I guess I'm saying they're different now. I wouldn't want to be in this day and age.
So y'all, real quick, y'all, because I told you that this hour goes fast, T. So I told you, I want you to give a conclusion on to empower some women, young women especially, because I don't feel like we have to recycle older ladies. Older ladies pretty much got their game, got it going on. They know what they want. Some of them are slacking, but I'm talking about that because you're in your 40s. I'm talking about the ones that's up under your 40s. And then, Monica, I'm going to get you a quick conclusion. So, Tisa, give us about a good 2 or 3 minute conclusion on something that you want to give women to empower them, to make them want to be better in the society, to make them want to be better people in this world today.
Well, I think that they should chase their dreams and see clarity on their dreams. Be clear on what you want to do and have that faith that you need. And it can change along the way, but just have faith and be clear on what you want, because a lot of them, they just do not know, what they want to do. So you can't be afraid to try new things. You have to try things and you don't give up. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. Never give up. If this didn't work, try again. Get up, try again. Now they're so quick to just quit and just give up. And then when something don't work, they just depressed. Don't sit in your pity. Mm-hmm. Don't sit in your pity. Get up and keep going.
That's good.
Amen. Get up and keep going, because there's gonna be challenges. And keep changing. Keep changing, because if you keep changing, that's, like I said, they put that fire under you to do what you need to do, and you can't be afraid of change. You don't need to be afraid of change. You should be ever changing.
Yes.
That's some good stuff right there.
You should be ever changing.
Monica, I'm gonna let you give a good, because we're ending on Women's History Month, so I'm gonna give you the last couple of minutes.
Okay, I just want to encourage our young ladies to get educated, in your craft. Like you said, you had a craft. I know a lot of people don't really may not want to go to college. And
it's okay.
Right. You can take a trade. Go. Knowledge is power, as they say. And a lot of people's like, what you mean? Whatever you don't understand, research it. Get a mentor like you. Say, hey, I want to come mentor you at the salon. You got to expand your craft in whatever it is. If you want to do accounting, go to a firm and do an internship. Find out what you want to do in this life, because God is giving everyone a gift. and he expects you to use that gift. And if you don't, like when you and I were talking, if you don't lose it, if you don't use it, you'll lose, or else he'll give it to someone else. So that's my thing. Like she said, and continue to change, which means to advance yourself each and every day. Write out goals, something that you want to accomplish from day to day, from month to month, and then go back and like journal. It's a lot that these young people can do besides being on the telephone or hanging out. Do something that's going to advance your life. You only get one, and this time is going by so quick, and we don't want you to say you wish you woulda, coulda, and should have.
Y'all, this has been another exciting show tonight, y'all. Tisa, I thank you for coming through and hanging out with
Thank
us.
you for having me.
It's been
It's been a
amazing
pleasure.
night. Yes, it has. We pray. I want real quick. I want you to give your salon name, address, and everything real quick before we get off the air, and let us know where you're located and what you're doing real quick. Go ahead.
Okay, I am located in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at I keep saying Salon. Studio 26 is 1520 Memorial Boulevard.
Okay.
We are a multicultural salon, so we do a little bit of everything, from hair color, hair cutting, pixies, braids, sew-ins, updos, curly hair. Curly hair is a really big thing. Silk presses, you name it, we pretty much do it all there. We also have a lash tech there. And there we do also we will be offering some body contouring.
Okay.
And we offer, we're working on classes. So, the young ladies that's interested in cosmetology and, hair and things like that, we will, if you want to check us out, my page is Tisa's Touch .pps on Instagram. So when we have classes and things, I'll start posting it. And the salon owner, Terry White, her page is Stylist Terry on Instagram. And when the salon have classes and stuff, they'll be, we'll be posting it online. So we will be doing a lot of classes. So if you young ladies, that's looking into enriching your craft, we will be teaching a lot of classes on the popular and trending styles.
Okay.
All right, there you go, y'all. And then we ended with that great note right there. She gave her information out. But once again, y'all, this has been a great Women's History Month that's ended. I'm tripping over here, but bless you all. It's been a nice night. You have been listening to WFTB 104.1 FM Tab Nashville Gospel Radio, and also Sacrificial Conversations podcast that will be airing Wednesday. You all have a blessed evening. I told y'all it was going to be a good conversation, Sacrificial Conversations. Did you subscribe yet? Hit that like button. You might get something that's going to help your life. Y'all be blessed.